Hello, my name is Hemakonda Metampali, and today I'm going to be telling you guys about the importance of tardigrades in research. But first, I have a riddle. I want you guys to think of a type of bear, but it has to have 8 legs, and it can be drowned, burned, frozen, or even completely dehydrated and still survive. The title of my slides may have given it away, but the answer is tardigrades, which are commonly referred to as water bears. For some background information, tardigrades are incredibly small organisms that cannot be seen with the naked eye. They live in nearly any condition and are found across the world, meaning they're widely available. What makes them remarkable is that they can survive in almost anything: boiling temperatures, freezing cold, the vacuum of space, radiation levels that would kill most animals and even humans. While they are not the most common animal we will see in a lab, they have a lot of potential when it comes to research, and in the past decade they have become increasingly popular test subjects. Historically, tardigrades have not been commonly used as lab subjects. Researchers tend to opt for things like C. elegans, which are a type of worm, and mice, because their biological processes are comparable to humans and they are cheap, easy to attain, and easy to study because of their short lifespans, which are all attributes that make them something called a model organism. So you may be asking yourself at this point, why do we study tardigrades? Well, tardigrades may not serve the same role as other lab animals, but they do provide a unique insight, allowing us to research things that other organisms cannot. First up, they have been the center of many experiments because of their ability to survive extreme conditions. We wonder why they can do that and how we can benefit from such. Next up, believe it or not, they can actually survive in space, serving as a great tool for astrobiologists. And finally, like I said, tardigrades are not model organisms, but they have many of the same pros that typical lab animals have, that I will discuss further later on. A lot of labs and even biotechnology companies are very interested in tardigrades because the key to their almost invincibility is their proteins. If researchers can find a way to extract and understand how these proteins work, it could mean major healthcare advancements. Because if you can find a way for this protein in donor organisms and medicines to protect themselves like tardigrade proteins, they would stay good across most conditions. This means cheaper and easier storage and transport, as well as greater accessibility. Bloom Lab at UNC Chapel Hill is an example of one of these labs. They did a research study not too long ago on how proteins that protect tardigrades would work in bacteria. Space agencies and astrobiologists also use tardigrades to explore how terrestrial life handles the extreme conditions of traveling through space. Because they can survive the freezing vacuum of space, extreme pressures, and the intense cosmic radiation experienced in the low of Earth's orbit, they are really good test subjects for defining survival beyond our atmosphere. And fun fact, in 2019, an Israeli spaceship actually crashed into the moon with a capsule of tardigrades, so there actually might be tardigrades living up there right now. As I said earlier, tardigrades are not really considered model organisms because they're not very common in labs and still seen as rather exotic. But they still have many attributes that make them wonderful test subjects. First of all, they're cheap and easy to tame, and they are also very easy to keep since they don't need complicated diets or special lab equipment. Secondly, they are easy to study. Scientists have mapped their entire genome and they have a fixed number of cells. And all this means basically is that they have a very clear genetic blueprint. This makes a researcher's life a whole lot easier when studying them. Testing on tardigrades and microscopic invertebrates lacks a lot of the same obligations and ethical treatment that testing on humans has. Furthermore, there is less moral turmoil when it comes to testing on them compared to mice or other small animals used in labs. So what is our big takeaway here? Tardigrades may seem like these tiny, bizarre-looking animals, but they're showing scientists something no one else can. They're showing them how to protect ourselves through our genes. From harrowing trips to space or being revived after being completely dehydrated, these possibilities are tied to special proteins that protect their cells from damage. And now you might be asking yourself, so what? But the so what is, if research can figure out exactly how these proteins work, this knowledge can be applied to things humans actually need to keep safe. Donor organs that last longer in transport, vaccines that could survive a trip to remote parts of the world without any kind of refrigeration. All of that could come from understanding the inner workings of our water bears. So who knows, next time you see something about tardigrades, it may be in your medicine cabinet. Thank you for listening.